أما بعد الرحمن الرحيم سبحان الذي الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي آياتنا إنه هو صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. For the hastening of the reappearance of the Master is the beginning verse of the 17th chapter of the Faraj, or the ascension of Rasulullah. You find the event of Mi'raj is an event which that the Prophet went upon two Mi'raj within his lifetime. Mi'raj within his lifetime. But no, one more tradition 120 times within the life of Rasulullah. That it's strictly a historical discussion, but the reality examined from other angles as well. For example, you find that the philosophers have examined the event of Mi'raj, that how was it possible Hussein or Adna that he becomes so close that even Jibreel can't ascend that level of Allah. Have discussed this event, and you find it's been discussed from a number decided upon is examining the event of Sayyid al-Shuhada Imam al-Hussein. Now you know many within the 21st century, as in when I live in 2008, Mi'raj and the ascension of Rasulullah have need to understand what this topic is about. The exam Sayyid al-Shuhada. You see, from the first level, the world realized the need for spirituality today. And within academia, you see a new interest with the of the Taoist. You find there are individuals that look. You find all of this goes to show that the human material and outward reality, there is an inner is there. You'll find loneliness is there. When you go online, you look today, that some of the top, because they tap into the area of spirituality, own personal ascension, will find ways to. You find this topic carries relevance because history. It has adab and literature within it. It has a book of history, nor is it a book of literature. You find the ascension of Rasulullah is discussed. Many times you analyze this event, you'll begin event, as in when you see this discussion with the Quran, you find that Rasulullah, it stated, Shaykh Allah, he gives advice towards Amir towards someone, but the intended message is for someone. Every single state, you know, when you speak, when you this, they'll ask for a ta'weez, they'll ask for a parchment. The verses of the Quran themselves are dua. Man qara'a mi'ata ayatin min al-Quran, Ya Allah, that Amir al-Mu'mineen says that in the Quran, then afterwards 7 times qala'aha insha'Allah, that even if the from its place, that this is the power within. No, from the 3rd level, you find this discussion. Look at the Quran. The more the Quran, this individual is praised. For example, Allah says, Taha, we didn't reveal to you this Quran so that it says that Alam nashrah lak. You know, Musa in the Quran, he says, Rabbish, you give me strength. But Rasulullah, he didn't make a dua. وَوَضَعْنَا أَنْكَ وِزْرَكَ. Allah, we removed that weight upon your shoulders. That how elevated is the remembrance of Rasulullah to 1.3 billion, whatever the statistic is. You Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Wherever the Tawheed of Allah is mentioned, you find the message is this prophet, that when you examine the Mi'raj, even the name of this individual, when taken properly, can elevate. It's stated, Shia and non-Shia, they both narrate. There is a man within a town. The people, they didn't bury him, O Musa. Nabi Musa, he goes towards the town. He says, he was close towards Allah. His piety must have been something. Such individual. Musa says, no, Allah revealed to me. They say, oh Musa, we discussed amongst ourselves that he passed away. He doesn't have to be a pious individual. He threw his body upon the trash, for he was a very sinning. He goes towards that trash. He finds the body of the man. He goes towards you that you want me to bury. You find Allah. The people of the town, they say he was a sinner. They didn't bury him for the. But there was one action, this individual, all of his sins because of this action. You know, sometimes when a deed of that individual and he can forgive the other sins of it. That deed of this man, Allah, he says, كُلُّ in front of him, وَالنَّذَرَ إِلَىٰ إِسْمِ مُحَمَّدٍ وَضَعَهُ عَلَىٰ عَيْنَيْهِ. He would kiss that name. What upon Muhammad? I like this habit of that one action. This is why the traditions state. How do you know it's not the wali of Allah amongst you? You see, this is that analysis of the name. You'll begin to go upon your Mi'raj and your ascension. Entity that can take one by the hand and elevate that person. Urafa would say that if we reach this status, I used to live in Najaf, that Qadi became Qadi. You find his father go. He says, oh Imam al-Hussein, what I want, the Dari of Habib ibn Madahir. He says, oh earth, you find Qadi Tabatawai was born through this. Which Habib ibn Madahir? You know, one time, when Ali is your status, that whoever does the ziyarah of Imam, when you do the ziyarah of Sayyid al-Shuhada, you do the ziyarah. He says to him that what more status do you want? That thing is, I never had the chance to sit with the of Hussein. That these are those in Sayyid al-Shuhada took them upon a Mi'raj, and he would walk behind Imam al-Hussein, put it upon his head. Rasulullah would walk himself. The father of Habib Madar do. You find Rasulullah, he says, you didn't see. Child would pick the dust from underneath the feet of my Hussein. And there's a number of aspects of the Mi'raj. Shuhada will begin to have our own spiritual Mi'raj. You find the Mi'raj is a journey. But perfection can't be attained unless he goes al-Jawhariyah. And I'll keep it very simple. He has to go through haraka and taghayyur. He has to go through out. You find the stems, then you find the plant. We need to go through change. We need to go through movement to get towards this perfection. It says, Ya ayyuhal insan, inna human being, you are struggling towards your Lord's struggle. We face challenges in life. Sometimes these challenges, the believer once every 40 days, that the believer is like two scales of. You see within the world today, you go from work to school, then you have your small, but you find Allah, He gives you those blessings and to reflect upon your purpose to do that aspect. That a man to forget. Even when you look at this word in Nisyan, to forget, or it comes from uns, which means to. The Quran says, وَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَ. It benefits the believers. Hussein, it gives you the opportunity. Where am I within my purpose of creation? Through trial. That's why the closest to Allah, no prophet was trialed more than me. What was Allah? What would happen towards Sayyid al-Shuhada? Don't have knowledge to handle what I'm giving towards you. Not stated that one day Zahra, she child within my womb, he speaks to me. Rasul says that he says, Ya Umma Anal Madloom. He says, Ya, oh my mother, I'm alone, I'm only. Waheed Anal Adshana, that I understand why this child says this. Hussein, O Zahra, this is that Hussein, a test for Rasulullah to have this. Go through a movement. From the second level, the Prophet, is that you find the discussion, it comes, Prophet, the ruh, or was it the ruh and the jism? I know many of you, you know the answer towards this according to tradition. Evidence. My goal isn't to give the fact, but it's about the soul of a human being and our ascension through. That the Umayyads would say that the Mi'raj of Rasulullah, you find oftentimes when we look at politicized to benefit the ruling class. For example, now why would it benefit the ruling class to within Islam? They can turn to the people and they can say this, we're not committing the act. You find this was the political for the status of Rasulullah. The Umayyads of Ahlul Bayt, they would come back. The sixth as a physical reality, that individual. But you find kafir at the level of aqid. Amongst the ways that you can prove that the Mi'raj of Rasulullah is from amongst the verse within the Quran. You know, الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد. There are 8 pieces of evidence within this verse. Now I won't go through all 8, but the famous piece of evidence, the word abd, and even Fakhruddin Razi would write this within his. The question it comes up, that Allah could have said, Subhanallah al-anbiya bi khatam al-mursaleen. He could have said of the prophets, but no, he says bi abdihi. spiritual mi'raj and your ascension, O human being. That's why even in salat we say ashhadu anna Muhammad as the messenger of Allah. We say he is the abd and the is servitude towards Allah. That's why the tradition, that's why wasika alladina says that Allah will drag the disbeliever. 2 verses later it says wasika alladina, Allah will drag those who were fearful of their Lord to be dragged and pulled towards heaven. That if heaven was in hell. But why is it that Allah is saying that you're, but they didn't come to a conclusion about this verse, but then that there will be a group of people upon the day of judgment towards Allah by saying, oh Allah, within this towards paradise, we want to see the face of Sayyid al-Shuhada, the Imam. The gathering will prolong to such a paradise. They'll reply by saying, we found paradise by the individuals will be dragged towards heaven. The verse al-Jannati Zumara. You find this is that reality. Faraj. No, a second piece of evidence, the body of Rasulullah, is you find the reality is not Mi'raj, the separation of the soul and body. They separate from each other completely is at the time of death. Is within the body when you go and you dream and whatnot. But you find that the soul and the body take one towards ascension. To go upon its ascension, you find it requires that sometimes a fifth and the other half is thrown back at the person. Why? Doing it physically, but the body and the mind aren't together. And you find in the same way when it comes towards it's stated within the tradition that goes into Masjid al-Nabawi, he takes something. He took out a thin piece of cloth in that time period, or gold or whatever that valuable item was within that time. We would watch the Imam. He would put that cloth upon the dirt. The Imam would prostrate upon that dirt. Towards him, that what was this? The Imam replies by saying, and anyone who prostrates that person. Now what these veils are, we don't know what these. But when you do the tawaf around the Kaaba, you do it 7. When you go between Safa and Marwa, those mountains, you do it. Removes one veil to elevate your spirituality. Turba Hussein will remove 7 veils. No, it's stated 7 of those veils. Then what is the Turba Hussein? Then you know within the time period of Ghaibat al-Sughra, within the minor occultation, they would have titles for him. Sometimes they would say Ya Sayyid. Within the Ziyara, you find the 12th Imam. Afi turbatihi. He does salam be upon the. You know, oftentimes when people, they have this khaq known as khaq al-shifa. They say that whenever you have a spiritual defect, khulus and your sincerity is going, when you feel like the shuhada, the turba of Hussein has this line, the Imam says, As-salamu ala manil whom du'as are accepted underneath the dome of Hussein. Sheikh Ja'far Shushtari. Who's Sheikh Ja'far Shushtari? It's stated that Tafsir al-Safiya Mullah Faid Kashani, and after wouldn't be able to remember the masa'ib. He would say, oh Allah, I have to look at a paper. I'm a mujtahid, I'm an alim. It takes a until one night, within his dreams, he sees it was the day. Narrates, within my dream, I went to the army of the Imam says towards Habib ibn Madahir, oh Habib, but give him something to eat. You find he said type of food made of flour, he put it within my mouth. Got any of the musibah of Sayyid al-Shuhada. I came across a narration of the fourth Imam. The makes sense towards me. The narration, it stated that the fourth of my father Hussein, and you make a dua that me. He says at that time the qubba wasn't made. The room over there is make dua underneath it for the duas to be. But then I came across a tradition of the infallible of place of Imam al-Hussein. Allah has placed a qubba. When they refer to the qubba of Hussein, it's not light over the martyr place of Imam al-Hussein. When that dome was destroyed, does that mean that spot isn't? No, this is the reality of Imam al-Hussein. In Salat, you know, it's recommended that the intention of the opening takbir and you say Allahu Akbar. Al-Faqih, he narrates that Rasulullah, he goes to lead prayers. Rasulullah says Allahu Akbar. He repeats himself a second, a third. Imam al-Hussein says Allahu Akbar upon the seventh time. The day of judgment, it became amongst the sunnah of Rasulullah. Akbar, we say it in a lower voice, but upon the reality of the Imam. And this is what you see from the Mi'raj. That the Mi'raj was both the soul and the body. Is that when bi'abdihi laylan, you know this word body, why? Because if it was just the soul, you find the soul mujarrada, an abstract reality, physical property. It doesn't have size, and I'll give you an example to simplify it. That the book, that you find ilm is a reality, that all of these physical, in the same way night and day don't affect the soul. It goes to show that the body and the soul were there together. That when you want to reach this Mi'raj, you find, you know, layl within the traditions, it represents unity. That's why within the daytime you have your works, your mind, unison. It's a time of focus. That's why the Quran, it says, you want to reach this praise station, do it at night before the coming of Fajr. It is maksus hajat, ask before that time of Fajr. But you find a specific night which is referred to within this world, and one specific Laylatul Qadr, when it says inna anzalnahu fi akmaltu lakum al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum, that when the day represents multiplicity, the day is balance. If that day is the day of Amir al-Mu'min, when he says that Layl is our grandmother Abi Talib, that night Laylatul Qadr is Fatima, represents multiplicity. That's why there is one Zahra. That's why the 11th Imam would say that we are the hujjat over us. That this is that reality. Subhan ila al-Masjid al-Aqsa, sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. You find that night of Mi'raj down. On one side he sends Jibra'il. On the other he sends down the creation known as the Buraq, lightning. That this is that creation which would be able to. You find Rasulullah, he begins this movement. Jibra'il would tell the Prophet to pray at different maqamat. Jibra'il, what spot is this? Jibra'il says this. He goes to Masjid al-Kufa. He goes to Bethlehem where Isa was in Masjid al-Aqsa. All of the prophets were there. Jibra'il says, Ya Rasulullah, the time for Ibrahim is there, Nuh is there, Musa is there, but doesn't step forward. Jibra'il takes Rasulullah Masjid al-Aqsa. Rasulullah, he leads all of the prophets. The hujjat of Allah, the 12th Imam, he returns. Come, neither of them step forward. You find the son of Maryam. You find Jesus replies that Fatimah al-Zahra. You find Rasulullah. I'll save you from the tradition. There's many aspects you can take from that the hadith, it says that on the night of Mi'raj, udnu minni, come closer and closer towards me. They reach this reality. Jibra'il says, a little bit further, my wings will be burned. There, the Quran, it speaks فَأَوْحَى towards the heart of Rasulullah, and he reaches that status of at that level. There's, but you find there are two interpretations given. The Arabs, they would have 50 and 100-year wars to make peace. They would take their bows and when the Quran says 2 bow lengths are close, and Rasulullah, that Rasulullah would obey each Allah, he does it through the wasila of Rasulullah. It says, O Prophet, say towards them, the sign of the love of Allah, it's obedience towards Rasulullah. Adna is this, is that you find a human being upon his attributes of Allah, the closer he adopt the akhlaq of Allah, that you're moving towards Allah. If Allah has ilm, this is that reality. You know, the 6th Imam would say that us Ahlul Bayt are those names of Allah, that us Ahlul Bayt, we manifest the attributes of Allah. Ar-Rahim. You know, this ba in Bismillah has 9 or 10 meanings, but the Mufassirin, they said the other is isti'ana. Either you're saying Allah. Now notice, you're saying I seek help, that I'm seeking help through Allah. Of Allah, there is room for you when you're seeking help. When you say Bismillah ar-Rahman, Imam has a tradition that whenever you have any difficulty, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim 3 times. This is that reality of the Imam. And each of us, as I said, were discussions of no use, but it was for benefit of everyone. But when you look at the martyrs of Karbala, what's not that you look at the tradition of the fifth Imam. The fifth Imam, the arrows would go through their bodies, they didn't feel any pain. This hadith. They said Allah took that pain away from them. Surah Yusuf, when the women of Egypt, they began to do, she invited them towards a gathering, and when they began to cut the fruit, she called herself. They were so mesmerized by the beauty. They began to cut their hands. The companions of Sayyid, the reality was, they were absorbed with saying, this is the reality of the spirituality. You know, Khur was that individual. How did the Imam you? You know, the Imam, he doesn't say things to insult. A realization in Khur that the Urafa, they stayed. He wouldn't have attained the status he did except through the. He says to the Imam, if your mother was anyone other than Faraj. You see, it was the realization of the mother. That's why I'll give you one tradition and I'll come towards Musibah. You know, they said to Salman, how did you reach this status? You know, Allah, when I was alone with the Prophet, I would ask him about the higher my spirituality would go. That this, you know, the days upon this week which passed was the 7th of Safar. Traditions. One tradition says the 28th. That who is this Imam? You know, this is, we remember Sayyid al-Shuhada, but this is that. How often is Imam al-Hasan mentioned? You know, this difficulty outside of their home, but at least poisoned by his own wife Ja'ada within his home. The body and the janazah of Imam al-Hussein with an arrows. You find the janazah of Imam al-Hussein had the arrows before he passed away, afterwards, but there's one common factor between. I would watch one sister on the day of Ashura arrows, and in the same way she would see within Medina was poisoned. There was a difference between the poison. It took a few days for the poison to go through their body. Vomit his liver out immediately. Imam says, why do you want to cover it? Imam al-Hasan, I don't want my sisters. Imam al-Hussein, he begins to cry. When he says, Ya Aba Abdullah, over me, Abki alayk, oh Hussein, I cry. Abdullah, there's no day like yours, oh Hussein. His deathbed, at that moment, a 2.5 rest of the Imam, Farwa, she comes to me. Let this child sit upon my child. Child was this. This was the yatim. That upon the night before Ashura, you know, the Imam upon that night. For if any of them are ashamed to go away, that standing there, the Imam, he calls out the names of the name of On and Muhammad, but there's one name he didn't. his uncle with tears within his eyes. The Imam find death. You find Qasim, he says, Ahla min al-Asr. Asked this line to Qasim, he didn't ask it to anyone else. You find at that point, the Imam says, O Qasim, you know tomorrow is it going to come that they'll surround it? A time will come when I'll be holding Ali Asghar. There'll be an arrow that comes towards me. The Imam would say, O Qasim, you remind me of your brother. O Qasim, you find Qasim, he goes to the temple. O Qasim, why are you crying? Qasim says, Qasim, when your father Hassan was passing away, would I give it towards Qasim? You know, Imam al-Hussein, he looks at the letter. It was a Qasim ya waladi, ida wajadta غريبا أجشانا. That O Qasim, he's thirsty. Upon that day, be my representative. Imam, he reads the letter of his brother. فَغَشِيَ عَلَيْهِمَا, all of the musibah. Qasim, he goes towards the Maqta. They strick the head of Qasim with a sword. The sandal of Qasim, it got caught within the saddle of the horse. Qasim would hit the ground, it would break towards pieces. Qasim was asked that how do you find death? Is that after they died? But Qasim is that one shaheed. Qasim. يعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلب هذا. Which Imam al-Hussein? Pass away, he would mention one line. When Abbas, my back has been broken. When the بعدك الأفا, that O Akbar, after you may the upon Imam al-Hussein. The Imam said, O Qasim, but your uncle couldn't help you. That the body of Qasim, he notices the body is broken. The pieces of Qasim through the right of al-Bayt are going through any difficulty, help them. Wherever they are, Ya Allah, give us the strength to walk upon the Muhammad. And Ya Allah, every dua and ends master of our time, Matam Hussein. Ya Hussein, Baba mer labda, Baba mer labda, Baba mer Baba mer Injilat dur mend Nasina nahi labda, nasina nahi labda, nasina nahi labda. Baba mein kusham dilo pa, Baba mein kusham dilo paane.
गैरत सैयदा दी वेले मर गईया मैं रुल गईया मैं रुल गईया तेरा से रुल गईया तेरा सीना रुल गईया हो जदा गल तेंड के वेंदी हो जदा गल तेंड के वेंदी हो नहीं मिले टेंडा हो तरले कर दी लबदा बाबा मैं लबदा बाबा मैं रुलंडे इंज लगते होए दूर में तेरा सीना तेरा सीना नहीं लबदा तेरा सीना नहीं लबदा होत तो पहला पुर सामक तलवी तो पहला पुर सामक तल इंज जालिम हाथ चाया खाक तुझे पैया बाबा मैं रुल गई मैं रुल गईया मैं रुल गईया हाथ नसी रुल गईया हो जदा बाजारी लोकां हो जदा बाजारी लोकां दी पुफिया तूरन किते हो मेरा हे लबदा हे लबदा बाबा मैं रुलंडे इंज लगते होए दो तेरा सीना तेरा सीना ने हो बाबा मैं कुशाम मंगया बाबा मैं कुशाम मंगया मैं गैरत सैयदा आयो वेले मर गई बाबा मैं रुल गईया बाबा मैं रुल गईया बाबा मैं रुल गईया बाबा मैं रुल गईया विच है भीड़ बाजारी लोग है भीड़ बाजारी लोग फुफिया ते तोरन किते तेरा सीना हे लबदा तेरा सीना हे लबदा तेरा सीना नहीं जलते हुए दूर मेंढे रोना भूल गईया बाबा मैं रुल गईया मैं रुल गईया लमल हैया खैर लमल खैर लमल है कोई मासूमा जिंदा कोई मासूमा जिंदा
मासूमा, रब कोई मासूमा, रब कोई मासूमा, या रब कोई मासूमा, रब कोई मासूमा, रब कोई मासूमा, जिसको नींद आती, जिसको नींद आती, जिंदा दर जिंदा, उसके लिए क़ज़ा हो, मेरा तन्हा हो, या मेरा तन्हा हो, यार मेरा तन्हा हो, फिर किसी ने पर किसी ने पर जिंदा दर जिंदा, उस मासूमा, जिंदा में मासूमा, जिंदा में वो क्यों कहे जिंदा की दीवार, वो क्यों कहे जिंदा की दीवार, से है भाई से और ओ या रब कोई मासूमा, ओ या रब कोई मासूमा, ओ या रब कोई मासूमा, ओ रब कोई मासूमा, टकराए न वो क्यों कहे, टकराए न वो क्यों कहे, जिंदगी से और फुफी से है को जुदा किया हो, यार न तन्हा हो, यार न तन्हा हो, या हुसैन
अस्सलामु अलैका या रसूल المؤمنين ووسي رسول رب العالمين سيدتي نساء العالمين السلام الأمين السلام وعلى أولاد الهدى وعلى 9 المعصومين من ذرية بركاته. السلام عليك يا والفقراء، السلام عليك يا شمس، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله يا صاحب الزمان، السلام عليك، عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله وانصارك، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.